legislative.
Legislative.
Legislative. What else, what's another name for legislative?
Congress.
Congress. And what does Congress do?
Write the laws.
Writes
The laws.
the law. Okay, what is Article 2?
Executive.
Executive. And who is that?
The president.
President. And what does he do?
Enforce the laws.
Enforces the law. Carmen is ready for her interview. Okay, how about number 3? Somebody besides Carmen. Judicial. And who's that? Supreme Court. And what do they do? They explain the law. Okay. All right, I have a handout for you that I found on this wonderful website that I'm going to tell you about that's called this. iCivics.com, and it has a lot of lessons that you might be interested in about the Constitution, about the history of the United States, that might help you study a little bit. So this lesson is from that website. You need one more?
Sorry.
You need one more? Okay. And this lesson is called Anatomy of the Constitution. Have you heard that word before, anatomy?
Yeah.
What is that, anatomy? Usually we think of like a class that you have to take in college, anatomy of the human body. Yeah? So anatomy is the parts of something. It's the parts of something. And how they work. So when we're talking about the anatomy of the human body, we're talking about all the different parts of the body and how they work. This lesson is the anatomy of the Constitution. So it's all the different parts of the Constitution and how they work. Okay. So we have already talked about these first 3, but these are very important, so we're going to talk about them several more times. Here, on this sheet, it says creating Congress. That's in Article 1. And it gives you this chart of the difference between the 2 houses in Congress. What are the 2 houses in Congress?
Senate and House of Representatives.
Senate and House of Representatives. So the Senate talks about the qualifications. It talks about what, remember we talked about eligibility. What is it that you have that makes you able to be a citizen now? So these qualifications are what is it that these people have that makes them able to be a senator? So they have to be at least 30 years old. They have to have been a U.S. citizen for 9 years at least, and they have to live in the state that they represent. Who does a state senator represent?
All the people of the
Everybody,
state.
everybody in the state. If we look at the House of Representatives, those qualifications are, the House of Representatives person has to be at least 25 years old. They have to have been a citizen for at least 7 years, and they have to live in the state that they represent also. But who do they represent in their state? That's the senator. The senator represents everybody in the state. The people in their district. In their district. Okay. The Senate has 100 senators, because why?
Two
Two for every state. And the House of Representatives? 435. And how do we divide them up? Population. So states with more people have more representatives. Okay. Oh, it says here, they represent the interests of the citizen of the entire state, the Senate, the people in the Senate, for 6 years. We elect them for 6 years. And the House of Representatives, they represent the interests of the people who live in their district for how long? 2 years. Okay. Special duties. We didn't talk about this yet. In the Senate acts as a court during impeachments. Do you remember, we've talked a little bit about impeachments. Do you know what that is? Impeachments?
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton, yes. That's it, yes. Bill Clinton was impeached, yes. An impeachment is when the people of a state or a country or maybe the Congress decides that maybe an elected official has done something wrong. And they want to hold a trial to hear evidence to see if that person has done something wrong. That's the impeachment part. Just because someone is impeached does not mean they have to leave office. So the first person that I remember hearing might be impeached was Richard Nixon. He was our president in the 1970s. And we will talk much more about him later. But he did some bad things. And Congress decided to impeach him. So they were going to hold a trial. But before they could hold the trial, he resigned. So they did not, he was not impeached, he resigned. In the 90s, Bill Clinton was impeached. Congress thought that he did some things wrong. Congress thought that he went in front of a court and lied. And if you're the President of the United States, we hope that you don't lie. We hope you don't lie to the people, and we hope that you don't lie when you go to court. And it's illegal to do that. So Congress held impeachment hearings against Bill Clinton, and they had 4 counts against him, and I don't remember every one of them, but he was found guilty on 2 of the counts, so he was actually impeached. But just because you're impeached does not mean they can remove you from office. And he was asked to leave. He was asked to resign, and he refused to resign. So he stayed until his presidency was over. We also had an impeachment trial in Illinois. For who? For the governor. Why was he impeached? What did they say he did?
Corruption.
Corruption. One of the things they said was, okay, let's talk about our senators. Okay, who is our senator now? Richard Durbin, and who else?
Mark Kirk.
Okay. Before Mark Kirk, who was the senator?
Obama.
Almost. Okay. Barack Obama, before he was president, was elected the senator of Illinois. And then he resigned as senator because he was running for president. So the seat was empty. So it says in the Constitution that when a senator's seat is empty, the governor of the state may fill it. So Blagojevich was the governor at the time, and he decided he was going to fill it. But people taped him saying things like, Well, I'm not going to let that seat go for free. So if you hear something like that, what do you think?
He's gonna sell it.
He wants money or something for it. That was one thing, but he also did some other things, where he was asking for money for things that were not appropriate, things that you don't, when you are an elected official, you cannot receive money for. So he was tried for corruption. He was impeached. Now in Illinois, if you're impeached, they can remove you from office. In the federal government, if the president is impeached, they cannot automatically remove you, you have to resign. In Illinois, they can remove the governor, and they did. So then, the next person was the lieutenant governor, and he is now the governor. Pat Quinn was the lieutenant governor, so he moved into the governor's space. Okay, so from a federal perspective, it's the Senate that holds the trials if someone is going to be impeached, if the president is going to be impeached. Special duties of the House of Representatives. We talked about this a little. The president cannot spend money. Who spends money in the United States? Congress. The president can ask, the president can produce an idea, a bill, a plan, and say, this is my plan, I need this much money. And he has to go to Congress, and Congress will say yes or no. So all bills that raise money or spend money have to start in the House of Representatives. I'm sorry, that raise money have to start in the House of Representatives. That's where, when your taxes are going up, it starts in the House of Representatives. Okay, role in lawmaking. A bill, we saw this yesterday, a bill must be approved by both houses before it can go to the president. It can start in the House of Representatives or in the Senate. Then, once it gets voted on and passes there, it has to go to the other house, and then it has to pass there, and then it goes to the president. And then he can sign it, or what else can he do?
Veto.
What does it mean to veto?
Deny it.
He says no, excuse me, yes, he can say no and send it back. Yesterday we mentioned another one, what else can he do? He can leave it on his desk. He doesn't wanna sign it, he doesn't wanna veto it, he just leaves it on his desk for 7 days, it becomes law. Okay,
So after 7 days, if he's not signing it, it comes off?
yes. He has to sign it or veto it.
So
This is a very political thing. Maybe he has a bill that he does not like. He does not want to sign it. But he knows that if he vetoes it, he will be very unpopular. So he doesn't want to veto it either. So he says, you wrote the law, you made the law, I'm not doing anything with it, I don't want my name on it in any way, I'm leaving it, and it will just become law.
it's like washing his hands.
Right. Yes, like he's washing his hands of it.
Is there a word for that? That will be law, right?
It will be law.
Without saying?
Probably, there is a word for it, but I don't know what it is, do you know? Okay, I will find out though, yes, there is a law, a word for that process. Okay. Okay, on the bottom here it says, what can Congress do? We're still talking about Congress. They can collect taxes, they can borrow money and pay debts, so it's Congress that does this, not the president.
The president can veto it.
He can veto the law that they pass, but well, there's another thing. If he vetoes it, it can go back, and Congress can pass it without him. When the law first happens, the majority of both houses have to pass it, so half plus one has to say yes. That's how it passes both houses, and then it goes to the president. If he vetoes it and they still want to do it, Congress still wants to do it, they can vote on it again, both houses, but now they have to have 2/3 of the people have to say yes. And then they can pass it without him.
Instead of 51, more than 75.
Right. 66% have to say yes. Okay. The Congress makes rules for how to become a citizen. So the federal government, Congress does that, not states. Okay. Congress regulates commerce or trade between states, between the United States and separate states and other countries, and between Indian tribes still, even today. If there is some kind of trade agreement that the United States is going to have with an Indian tribe, the Congress governs that.
So they treat them like they're not citizens?
No, that, not exactly. Okay. Are there still American Indians today?
Yes.
Yes. They have pieces of the United States that are called reservations. So their tribes live on reservations. That is the property of the tribe, not of the United States. However, American Indians are considered American citizens, but they are also citizens of their tribe. If there is some negotiation that has to be done between the United States and a particular tribe, it is Congress that does that. The president makes treaties with other countries. Congress makes treaties with American Indians. Okay. Congress is the branch of government that makes money, that it says coin money. It means they print it, they make it, and they punish counterfeiters. What is a counterfeiter?
Fake money.
They're making fake money. So if they catch you and you've been counterfeiting, it's Congress that will punish you. Congress can establish post offices. They can give patents to new inventors. Are you familiar with that? What is that? A patent.
Like your name is attached to an invention, so
Right.
nobody can use it under their name.
Right. So if you create something like if you watch TV and you see those infomercials and someone created the ShamWow. It was some kind of big, huge rag that soaked up a lot of water. ShamWow. Did you hear about this? Okay. So someone created it, and then they filed with Congress for a patent. So that means they have the right, that's their idea and their creation, and they have the right to sell it like it is, and no one else has the right to do that. Only that person. So patent is for items that you create, inventions that you create. Copyright is for things that you write, like this is copyrighted by iCivics.com. And music. Music is also copyrighted because it's written. You write music. You play it too, but first you write it. So copyright and patent laws are very important in the United States. If you have an idea, you should be able to make the money from it. We have difficulty with other countries who do not honor our copyright and patent laws. So other countries allow their citizens to copy things like music and just sell it. And the people who created the music don't get the money.
And the funny part is that this copy thing is somehow coming back here.
And yes, so what happens is they're copied in another country, and then they come back to the United States and they're distributed here. Even though you can go to the store and buy it, and then the person who owns it gets some money for it. If you buy one illegally off the street, they get nothing. So patents and copyrights are very important to Americans because this is how many of us make money. Okay. Congress creates the lower courts. The Constitution created the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court. It's Congress, if we need more courts because there's more population now in a part of the country than there was before, it's Congress that will create those lower courts. Congress gets to punish pirates. Do we have pirates today?
Of course we do.
Yes, we do. We do. If they are found in United States waters, Congress will punish them. They don't necessarily go through the regular legal system like we've talked about. It's Congress that punishes them. People who copy music, or no, people who go online and download other people's things are also called pirates. And it's Congress that punishes them. So if you download things illegally, you download music illegally without paying for it, especially now, you hear in the news all the time now, those people who are doing that are getting punished. They can track into your computer to see if you've done it, and then you have to pay a lot of money. You might go to jail, prison, not jail. Only Congress can declare war, not the president. He can ask Congress to do it. He can send troops. Only the president can send troops, but only Congress can actually declare war. War is declared on another country. So, excuse me. So when 9/11 happened, for example, when we sent troops to go and find the people that did 9/11, President Bush did not need Congress's approval to send the troops because he wasn't declaring war. We were not declaring war on a country. But he did need money from them. So he did have to go and ask for money for it. So Congress can declare war and support an army and navy. Support meaning pay them and raise money for them. But they don't direct them. The president does that. Okay, in the Constitution, it also says that Congress has the right to make any other laws that are necessary and proper to carry out the powers that they are given. So if they have to write more laws in order for them to do these things, then they are allowed to do that according to the Constitution. Yes. Oh. Okay. Second article. The executive branch, the president. Besides the president, who is in the executive branch? The vice president? Who else? I'm sorry? The House of Representatives is in the first one, the legislative. The vice president?
The speaker.
Speaker of the House. Who is he? Speaker of the House.
John Boehner.
It's John Boehner. But where is he?
In the first.
He's in the House of Representatives. That's in the first article. Okay, so in the executive branch, president, vice president, oh, his advisors. What are they called? The secretaries. Advisors. What are they called all together? The cabinet. Okay. And the Attorney General. The Attorney General is part of the cabinet. Okay, so Article 2 creates the executive branch. This is the president, and all the people that we've listed there. It also contains agencies, like we talked about. There are civilian and military employees. What are civilian people? Who are they? Civilians.
Not in the army.
They are not in the military. So is anyone here in the military? Then you are all civilians. And then the military. So he commands both of those. Article 2 also explains the Electoral College. We talked about that yesterday. I know some of you weren't here. we'll talk about it again because we'll talk about the election and how the election works.